Hello, my name is Sam Barker, and my group mate is Maxwell Keimer, and today we will be giving a presentation about what you can expect if you desire a future in chemical engineering. This presentation today will cover what you can expect in college, how to get involved in chemical engineering outside of the classroom, co-ops and internships, chemical engineering beyond academics, and preparing for a chemical engineering career. We will also include our emails so that you can email us with any questions you have about chemical engineering. So the first thing we'll be covering today is what you can expect once you get to college. This will just be about general coursework. It'll be specifically about the University of Pittsburgh because that's what we've both have experience in. But from talking to some other people, the curriculum is pretty similar even at other universities. So first up is the courses you'll be taking as a freshman at the University of Pittsburgh. All engineers take the same general courses as freshmen. So that'll be physics 1 and 2, general chemistry 1 and 2. You'll take calculus 1 and 2. You'll have space for probably one elective. You'll take a chem lab, and then you'll do your first engineering course, which will be an engineering analysis course, and this will just cover the basics of some computer programs that you'll be using throughout the rest of your career at the University of Pittsburgh and in your actual career. Now, in your sophomore year, your second year at Pitt is where you actually get into the chemical engineering specific courses if you do decide to become a chemical engineer. These will include an introduction to chemical engineering. You take a chemical engineering specific version of thermodynamics. There's chemical engineering labs that accompany both of these courses. And in those labs, you get to be in the lab and work with some stuff you'll see in industry. There's an introduction to chemical product design course. You also take some of the harder courses like organic chemistry 1 and 2, calculus 3, and differential equations. Now your next year, that's your junior year, you'll be taking transport phenomena. So this covers heat transfer, mass transfer. You'll also be taking reactive processes. This is a course where you learn how to design a bunch of different kinds of reactors. There's plug flow reactors and continually stirred tank reactors, and you just learn all of the design equations and stuff that comes along with designing those reactors and the processes. There's a second product design course, and this one is about taking a product to market. And then you take statistics and physical chemistry. Now, this year you'll have space for some electives, so you can also start figuring out a minor or taking some other engineering courses if they're interesting to you. You have a bit more space in this year to take other elective courses. In your senior year, you'll take courses such as biochemistry. You'll take 2 systems engineering courses. In the diagram on the right shows what you'll be learning in systems engineering 2. It's an Aspen flow sheet. There's a safety and ethics course. And then in this year, you're also supposed to take an advanced lab. This is useful for getting some research or more lab experience. Now, one important thing that can help with this course load is AP credits. I'm sure a lot of you took some in high school. Most classes at Pitt, they only accept a 4 or 5, and they'll give you some sort of credit for those. You can use these courses to get out of up to 2 electives, which is very useful. You can get lab credit for this. I personally got a 5 on the AP chemistry exam, and so I got to skip all of the chem labs at Pitt. This just was an immense help in lightening my course load, and it really eased up my schedule a lot. So one thing that you should do is see what you can transfer your AP credit for. And if you're undecided, that's okay. Most people don't actually know what they want to do. That's why Pitt doesn't have you pick your engineering major in the first year. Uh, the courses of the first year help to introduce you to the different kinds of engineering. Um, it's okay if you're not sure what you want to do. You can always switch. Uh, you can transfer from the School of Arts and Sciences to the engineering school, although this is a little more difficult. And you can even change your engineering major partway through if you don't like it. Like my brother started as a chemical engineer, and he did it for a year. And in the end of sophomore year, he decided he didn't want to do it, and he switched to industrial engineering. And a lot of the coursework transfers. You don't really have to go back too far. It didn't set him back. He'll still graduate on time. So if you're not happy with what you're doing, just talk to your guidance counselor and make a change.
Next, I'd like to talk to you about ways you can get involved outside of the classroom. First, we have student mentorship programs, which you have a bunch of opportunities here. First being undergraduate teaching assistant. So if you do well in a class, you could apply to be a TA for it in the future. And in that, you hold recitations, which are review sessions based on what you covered in lecture that week. You help during exams, you administer quizzes, help with grading, and it's a good way to get credit and better knowledge in that department. You could also be a freshman advisor, and you hold sessions to help students get acclimated to both PITT and the engineering program. My mentor taught us about the benefits of the PITT ID, being able to go to different museums and things that are worth going to in Pittsburgh. You could also help with the freshman engineering presentations and papers. They hold weekly meetings to make sure you're on track and help you with your first real technical paper. You could also be a transfer advisor, where you help transfer students get acclimated to the environment. And lastly, you can be a club officer, where if you have a club that really interests you, you can put in the time and run to become on the board, like whether it's president, vice president, secretary, and there's more to come on the clubs, but that's a great way to get more involved. Next, I'd like to get into volunteer opportunities. PITT hosts a few of these every year between the PITT Day of Caring and PITT Make a Difference Day, where they group you up and send you in buses to different areas around Pittsburgh to help in those neighborhoods. So we helped restore a community center in Millvale once, where just like a lot of yard work and getting it cleaned up, and in addition to fixing up a garden, like a community garden in Etna. So those were very fun and a good way to make friends. They also have outreach organizations that are centered around community service, where you'd be able to join those and help out. And in addition, you also have charity events and fundraising that students can assist with. Next, we have engineering research, which is where you're essentially an assistant to a professor conducting their own studies. Research is not limited by your major or department, which allows you to choose a project that's just really interesting to you. And the best way to find them is to talk to professors in the engineering department to see what they're working on. There are also some job postings online, and they'll also have a group of professors come into your departmental seminar to present their projects and field applications. And when you do this, it can be for credit or for money. But if you do it for credit, then you'll have to do a presentation and poster board to show your findings, as you'll see on the next slide. And here is a sample poster board presentation for someone who did undergraduate research, where you really show what you were trying to do, your findings, your conclusions, everything up on a board, and you present it. Lastly, we have clubs and activities that you can join. There are many different STEM clubs on campus, but just to highlight a few, we have the PITT Chemical Engineering CAR, FSAE, and the American Institute of Chemical Engineers. And as you can kind of tell, some of these may be major-specific clubs, but a lot of them are open to other majors, and so you can really find something that interests you there. Next, we'd like to talk to you about career opportunities, and these include both co-op and internships. So what is co-op? It's essentially like a longer internship. You rotate between school and work, where you alternate semesters of working full-time and then studying full-time. and it usually is done in a three rotation basis, so you'll end up with a full year of experience at the end of it. And positions are available to all engineering disciplines as well as computer science. Next, we have how to co-op. Pitt has a great co-op department in the engineering school, and they host a co-op fair every year, which is similar to a job fair, where you can just walk around to different tables and learn about different companies and hand them your resume, and they host interviews at the end of the fair for potential hires. And in addition to that, they send out emails to the relevant departments almost daily for other job opportunities that are posted online. And why should you co-op? Well, first you can make money, which is always a big pull for a college student, but in addition to that, you can gain great experience and have a leg up when you graduate, because it'll be a great boost to your resume if you have a full year of experience under your belt in industry already. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you can graduate with a job offer already extended from the company you co-opt at. So I co-opt at a place called Salem Tube, and they're a subsidiary of a larger international tube group, and they make tubes for anything from heat exchangers to having contracts with SpaceX and Airbus for aero tubes. But they are located in Greenville, Pennsylvania, about an hour west of Pittsburgh. And I spent one semester in quality assurance, one in process engineering, and one in research and development. And this was really beneficial because since they float you around, you can kind of get an understanding of where you want to work when you graduate. And personally, I enjoyed my time in quality assurance the most, so when I'm looking for jobs, I'm going to be looking more on that side than in the others because I enjoyed it more.
So I know Max already talked about his co-op, but I also did a co-op, and I want to talk about it. My co-op was in Cleveland, Ohio. I worked for Tremco Commercial Sealants and Waterproofing. I was a process engineering co-op for 2 rotations, and I was also a quality engineering co-op for my last rotation there. It was a really interesting and useful experience. Did a lot of professional development. You know, you go there and you work full time. You're just another engineer. You get to do all of the same stuff as the real engineers that work there, and you work alongside them. Um, and you get paid. It's a really great experience. It's really useful for your professional development, and you'll come out of it having work experience, which will be very valuable on your resume when you're applying to jobs after you graduate. Now, neither of us really have any experience with internships, but we have some friends who did them, and what we can say about them is they're typically shorter than co-ops. Some are paid, others are unpaid. All of the people I know had paid internships, so it's really not that much worse than being a co-op. One thing about summer internships is that they're most common, and they're also shorter because this summer semester is shorter, so they're only 12 weeks. So you will get less experience if you only internship compared to co-op. And like I said, having that experience from either an internship or co-op is very useful when you're moving beyond academics and into your professional career. After you graduated with your degree, there will be no shortage of job opportunities for you. This is just for STEM jobs, but they're expected to add nearly 1 million jobs in the next 8 years. You can see what that will consist of specifically on all of these graphs, but the one category that's important is the engineers category down there, and that's expected to be 5% of those nearly 1 million jobs, which is a lot. And now something that is of course an important consideration when you're thinking about what you're doing for your degree, but it should never be the main reason you're doing it, is your salary. Now you can see the national median annual wage for chemical engineers is $108,000. The average entry level salary is $70,600, which is very good, but it shouldn't really be the reason you're going into chemical engineering, right?
Lastly, we'd like to talk to you about preparing for a chemical engineering career. And there are a few options for you. The first being job posting websites, which we'll get into soon. And Pitt also offers some help for graduating seniors, including career fairs, resume reviews, and mock interviews. So first, for job posting sites, we have two main sites we're highlighting, LinkedIn and Indeed. For LinkedIn, it's a good way to connect to friends and family. And you can find job postings in addition to connecting with potential employers. And Indeed is, you can find job postings in addition to comparing salaries. Next, we have career fairs, and PITT offers a career fair every semester for graduating seniors, and it's a great way to meet potential employers. You can also network there, so even if you don't get hired, you have your name out to a bunch of different companies, and you have that face-to-face interaction with them to make an impression versus the stack of resumes they're getting from other job posting sites for the job. And it's good for you because you get to familiarize yourself with different companies. You get to talk to their representatives to find out if it would be a good fit. You learn about their values, goals, and projects and how they really operate business to see if you would be interested in working there. Next, we have resume reviews, which PITT also hosts for graduating seniors. And it's a great way to touch up your resume and get some advice on how to change it. They'll advise you for organization, for formatting, and these are real professionals reviewing it, so you know you're getting good advice, and whether you choose to take these changes or not, it's nice to know how you can look better to employers just through the paper you send to them. Lastly, PITT hosts mock interviews every semester as well, and these are great because interviews are very stressful and you never know what you're going to be asked, so it's great preparation for a real interview. And at the end, they'll give you tips on how to improve, whether it's your communication skills or maybe you answered a question not in the best way and they think you could take it a different way. And you get a real good feel for the questions you might be asked because you can never really prepare for everything in a job interview, but it's nice to get that practice as far as answering questions on the fly. Any questions?